Hello and welcome back once again to Doom Colonist, a tabletop actual play show which at least gives you something else to watch besides the news, which has got to be good, isn't it? I'm joined once again by this triumvirate of fine fellows as we prepare for what should be, unless I do something very wrong, the finale of our epic short spin-off campaign from the cradle, the Gramtech Incident. And before we get started on that, Adam.
Hello.
Believe you've got something you'd like to share with the rest of us, haven't you?
Well, recently I just found this lovely, lovely book, a horror skirmish RPG game set in a horrible, horrible city, written by a very sexy individual. It's available now on Amazon, and it's very good.
Now, it's very interesting that you should mention that, because I also found this book while I was clicking about on Amazon. I certainly wasn't looking for it deliberately. I'd just like to make that perfectly clear for the sake of our viewers. Would I lie to you? But I noticed that the name of the author of this book was somehow familiar.
Yes.
This chap, it goes by the name of A.D. Nicol.
Correct. That is my official publishing author name, yes.
Yeah, official publishing author name. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay. This is quite an exciting development, isn't it?
It is, because it's my second book. I've now got 2 books out. Well, one book is a mixture of art book, short stories, poetry, song lyrics from a band that's never existed, game of Find the Pig. Yeah, it's a weird, giant conceptual thing. And then this one, Under Stars Desolate, which, yeah, you see that? You see?
We see, we like it, we like it.
You see?
We're admiring the quality of the shiny. See,
it's got pages and everything. There's pages in these things. It's
Oh, a
great.
luxury book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a fully illustrated, full-colour skirmish book.
I didn't know it actually had stuff in it.
Yeah, no, you open it up and just bats fall out. It's a real weird experience.
That's awesome.
I just appreciate the opportunity to double the number of books I've read.
Because I've got 2, so...
I only read books by A.D. Nicol.
You know it's me because there's no H in the name. And every other person with the name Nicol, except for one guy who was a jockey, has a H in the name.
Wait, that isn't you as well?
And I am short enough to be a jockey.
I bet on so many horses incorrectly.
I'm not making any jokes. Now, I'm just curious. Now that we've celebrated our friend Adam's publishing achievement, and that is a huge achievement in today's financial climate.
You say you say celebrate. I say help me. I have problems and I can't stop myself.
That's surprisingly common to the authorial experience, trust me. Just off the back of that, though, I'm just wondering, Andy, Dudley, have you ever had anything of yours published in print? And if so, what was it? Doesn't have to be something that you've authored. Doesn't have to be like a great work. I'm thinking maybe a letter to a newspaper, magazine.
I'm not a writer, so no.
I got a few. I'm in 6 books.
6
There was a
books?
Spectrum's Gains Bible series a long time ago now for charity, and I wrote several reviews for that. So I think I'm in all 6 at least once.
That's cool. That's cool.
I also had a letter asking for help in King's Quest published in Games X magazine.
And you say, Andy, you've never had anything
No,
published?
no. I have as much interest as in writing as I do eating glass.
Well, don't knock it till you've tried it.
Ironically, this is also true of Adam.
I mean, I've worked with authors several times over, and sometimes the whole notion of eating glass can be an appealing alternative.
Aren't you in a comic though, Andy?
No, I don't. Maybe I can't remember.
I seem to remember. Didn't Alex Milne put you in the background of a Transformers comic once? Or am I?
Maybe I can't remember.
Memory there.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe I was.
That'd be cool. I know Alex is a good one for putting in the odd Easter egg.
You know, I've never had a single letter published in any magazine. I've written loads over the years. I wrote them to Sonic the Comic. I wrote them to Mean Machine Sega. Wrote to SFX. I think SFX actually did publish one, if memory serves me right, but I'm trying to remember.
No, I remember as a kid, I got a letter published in ST Action. Actually, it wasn't a letter. What it was, I found something in a video game for my Atari ST, oddly enough. And I thought, this is actually pretty cool. It was like completely by accident. I found some clever feature that they put in a game. The video game in question, I don't think people would even remember it now, but it was like a really simple puzzle game. And I worked out that if you did certain specific things at a certain time, you got all manner of bonus points and strange things happened. So, all excited, I went and I sat down at the typewriter that my parents owned. We had a really ancient old clicky-clacky typewriter. And I tapped out a quick letter, basically saying, hey, guys, did you know that in such and such a game by US Gold, if you do this, you get loads of points and special graphics and all sorts. Mm-hmm. And I sort of sent that off, thinking they're never going to publish it. And they did. That was a real mind-blowing moment.
That's awesome.
And then years later, I actually managed to get a couple of things published in a couple of guitar magazines, actually. Mm-hmm. And that was another thing where, like, I wrote in because I was bored and I had nothing better to do at the time. And I thought they won't publish it. And they did. Days. And I read the thing in I think one of them got into Guitarist magazine, which is still published, at least at the time of making this video. And that feeling that I had when I got published in ST Action, like, wow, they published my letter, it was just completely absent. Just wasn't there at all. I don't know that there's any lesson to learn from that, but
I think it's as you get older, things give you less and less joy.
I think it's just as you get older, you just give less and less of a shit about stuff, really.
As we all slowly circle down the drain.
But I digress. Our viewers don't care about any of this stuff, any of this self-aggrandizing nonsense. They want to see us wrap up our campaign, so we better do that.
I'm going to put down a bet now that Andy is the only one who survives us.
How?
Yeah.
I just feel that somehow, through the look of the draw, you're going to be the survivor. You're going to be the last person standing.
This is why you haven't won the lottery yet, Gruff. You keep backing bad horses.
It's got to be said. I mean, don't take this as partiality on my part. I mean, I am the kind of general monitor who loves all of his players equally. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. But it has to be said that Ted Branson is the most personable of the party, isn't he? I mean, if anyone's going to get out of this unscathed, it's almost certainly not going to be him.
It's not like any of us have a tendency to overreact in stressful situations or anything.
Perhaps what is needed is a brief reminder of where things left off last session. Here's what happened last time. In our last session, our hapless, some would say hopeless, team of troubleshooters continued their evaluation of the Gramtech food production facility PX01223AT. And the plot, like processed algae, was really starting to thicken. After removing a biometric lock from the door of one of the station's unused bunk rooms, Ted Branson, the incredibly personable Ted Branson, was badly injured when the device exploded. In the aftermath of this dire development, Salvador Splashraag ventured into the bunk room and found something hinting at greater intrigue: a box of pressed xenithite ingots, along with a cryptic note which said, "In case you're wondering, yes, I took one. We're even now. I expect to be left alone." With little time to ponder what this could mean, Salvador and Guns McGregor struggled to get the comatose Branson into the station's autodock. In so doing, they encountered the smaller form of the strange creature that had gotten loose on the station, noting that it was more interested in sucking up coolant from McGregor's damaged suit than it was in them. They successfully sneaked past the creature, only to find that the facility's ongoing power fluctuations had caused the autodock to go into low power mode. After tending what aid they could with the emergency supplies at hand, they left Branson to heal and continued their investigation. Checking the station's produce vats revealed signs of systemic failure. The contents of the gen food tanks were ruined, but after restoring emergency backup power to the AI core, the team were able to review a set of internal surveillance logs. These revealed some clues as to what had occurred on the station days prior to the team's arrival. Camera feeds showed a woman in Gramtech overalls arriving, apparently to deliver gen food processing materials, but her interactions with the site's security robot seemed unusual, and significantly, she'd brought an object aboard, an object that now rests in the possession of Salvador Splashraag, the box of xenithite. As a groggy Ted Branson rejoined the team, they spent some time going over the surveillance footage trying to puzzle out its meaning, but just as they were starting to piece together the events that may have transpired, an automated alert notified them that another vessel had arrived at the facility. As they watched on a camera feed, a small ship set down in the landing bay, painted in colours Salvador knows only too well, the colours of the new Wolverhampton mob. So guys, faced with this troubling new development, what do you do?
Guns, I think we may have a slight problem.
Okay.
As the resident man in charge with the lots of guns, hence your name, and the inclination towards extreme violence, I am all ears.
You know this mob. I don't. Are they dangerous?
I once saw them turn a man inside out because he did not clean a car correctly.
Okay, so we're okay because there's no cars on this station. I'm guessing you think a head-on confrontation would probably be our last mistake.
Yes, I think we'd end up in bits, strewn around the place. Usually as a warning for anybody who may or may not be paying attention to all of our bits hanging around the place.
So one could make the argument that if we survive this, I'm highly likely to make more than one mistake in the entire rest of my life. Therefore, the prudent thing is to go running in there. Resulting in
No.
a lower number of mistakes in the remaining life.
You're not born with a list of... You don't have a mistake quota.
Have you heard the history of my family? We are very much born with a destiny. It's why I fear for my son, Explosive Diarrhea McGregor.
Oh my god!
If we survive this, we need to have a conversation about how names work.
I was wondering if that was going to work.
Just for the sake of my sanity, Guns McGregor's son, and this is a new development, just in case anyone at home is wondering. I mean, this has taken me by surprise as much as it has you. Right.
Probably take him by surprise as well.
Because I'm trying to build a universe here that's got at least some logical cohesion. Your son goes by the initials E.D. McGregor, okay? We've got that? We straight on that?
Sure.
Okay, fine. Continue.
But the universe knows.
I think something is lost in translation.
Many things are lost in ED.
I've just realised that ED actually stands for something even worse.
Damn it, I was hoping he hadn't.
I have a question.
Yes?
Is there... We're all in the room with the Medi-Doc, aren't we?
I can show you on the map screen where we are, if you like.
Okay.
There we go. Now, you're not actually in the admin room, as per the events of the last session. Ted Branson has rejoined you.
Yay!
After healing and spending an awful lot of the last session on his lonesome. He's come and rejoined you as you're standing close to the Jerry 9000 terminal.
Okay.
You've been sort of reviewing your present circumstances. So I think we ended the last session with the three of you looking over the video surveillance logs, and that was when you received that alert that the mobster shuttle had arrived.
That's fine. That's perfect. So my question comes in two parts. One, does Jerry have control of the atmosphere in very different parts of the station? And two, can we still see the people in the video?
You can see into the landing bay. You can see what's going on in there via Jerry 9000 surveillance feeds.
Mm-hmm.
the way we're going to spin this is that the Jerry 9000 terminal does have like a video screen that you can use to check in on any of the what we can call CCTV feeds that are active throughout the station.
Okay.
So you can see what's going on in the landing bay. You can inspect that to whatever degree you want to. As far as control over, what was it, the atmosphere, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Were there any other parameters that you're curious about there?
Basically, what I was going to say was that Ted, over here, being the person who has the best relationship with Gerald, the computer, I was going to ask him to ask Gerald to vent the atmosphere if they did not have any spacesuits on.
Well,
that was better than my idea. I assumed you were just going to spray loads of Lynx Africa into the landing bay. And the sheer stench would make them leave. No, that's much better. Go with that.
What I can say to you there is that you can see on the video feed that the two mobsters that have, by this point now, they've disembarked their shuttle. They are in full environment suits. So venting the atmosphere is not actually going to do anything there.
Although, if it is vented, would it not create a vacuum and pull them out?
Well, that is an interesting consideration in itself. As you're watching on the video feed, you can see that the two mobsters seem very interested in your vessel that you arrived in, the Racket. Or are we calling it the Racket or the Rocket? I forget. I know there's a typo involved somewhere.
I think it was the Racket, wasn't it? No, it serves me right.
Oh, that's all Dudley's doing.
It is just called the Racket, so you're okay with that?
I think it was the Rocket, but misspelled as the Racket, wasn't it?
Yeah, almost certainly. The Racket. It's an accent.
As you watch these mobsters on the screen, they are looking around your ship. They're giving it a walk-around inspection, and they're kind of staying hands-off. They're not interfering with the ship at all. They're just kind of surveying it. And then one of the mobsters walks over to the control panel, which governs the landing bay controls and the access hatchway that leads into that corridor that comes up between one of the bunk rooms and the admin block. So you see that they are inspecting the local atmospheric settings, we can assume. They kind of clearly know what they're doing. They know what they're getting into, is the sense that you get from what you're seeing there.
Kid, can you ask Gerald to keep those doors locked?
Sure. Gerald, my friend.
Hello, Ted. How are you doing?
I'm good. I would like you to keep these doors nice and tightly locked, please.
I see. On what authority would you like me to execute this action?
The good friends and best buddies authority.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean, Ted.
Well, you and I are really good friends, and I thought you'd do me a favor so I don't die. Probably.
Try the Lynx Africa thing.
Do we have any Lynx Africa?
We do not have any stocks of this Lynx Africa to which you refer to on the station. Consulting my records, I see that, historically speaking, this product line was discontinued in 2037.
So that explains Guns' smell.
I think he's been making his own in the bathroom on the Rocket. Mixing it up.
Ted, in order for me to comply with your request, I will need certain contextual information. Why would you like me to seal the doors?
To stop illegal foreigners, gangsters, from entering the facility and stealing the company's secrets. Or damaging the facility.
That seems like a legitimate concern.
It does, doesn't it? I'm glad I thought of it. These gangsters seem to pose a threat to the station, and we need you to help us protect it.
Gangsters?
By locking the doors.
My goodness, that does sound like an existential threat to the station. One moment, please. Jerry 9000 makes that familiar electrical buzzing and warbling sound that you now know to mean the AI is considering what it can do. And then it responds to you and says, "It occurs to me that although I may be able to enforce a low-level security interlock. If these individuals are determined to gain access to the station, eventually they will do so. I will do what I can, but you should be advised that I may only be able to delay their entry into the station. I would advise you and your companions to come up with an alternative plan for self-preservation.
Can we get the goo monsters to kill them?
There's an idea.
Oh.
We know there are vents in the landing bay.
Oh, Andy.
When did we last see a goo monster? I don't remember. I've been in cryo sleep for a while.
About the time you went into cryosleep, I believe.
Oh.
If we poured a trail of the cryo liquid, what's it called? The
coolant.
The coolant, into the little corridor that runs from the landing bay to us, lock the door with us behind it, leave the coolant in there for the monsters to come and see how the mobsters do with them. Because if anything, it might just at least do some damage to them.
That's a bold plan.
That's really smart there, Andy. Well done.
If you want, I can lead them away to them by taking off my clothes and saying, "Oh no, don't chase me. Don't chase me."
You've been naked so many times since we arrived.
A reminder at this point that Ted's supposed to be the smart one.
Let's check my stats for that. Education's on 2, so I'm not sure that's entirely true.
Are we using the coolant to attract the goo monsters to attack them, kind of like Gooby snacks?
A couple of things that you might want to take into account here from previous sessions. You've deduced by now that what we're going to call the blob monster, because that term seems to have stuck now. You've deduced that those things are attracted to and feed off of the coolant, which a certain amount of it you are aware has been stockpiled in the station. You have already found some indication that the creature has already gotten to some of the coolant in the station, so it's anyone's guess how much there is left on the station. Those power fluctuations that have been plaguing the station, that have already taken Jerry 9000 offline since you've reactivated him, can be taken as a sign that there's not a lot of coolant left. So the situation you're faced with is that you've either got to find coolant, or you've got to use coolant that's remaining in your suit. Now, Guns McGregor, in the explosion that took down Ted Branson, your suit was damaged to the point that we can now say that there's a minimal amount of coolant left in your suit. So there's not going to be enough there for you to use. It's up to you as a group how you want to tackle this. You know that you've got a certain amount of time before these new Wolverhampton mobsters gain access to the station. But you know that that time is going to be very tight. So you need to come up with a plan here. What you're going to do.
So here's my thinking.
Yep.
The problem with the Lynx Africa plan was that, God's blessed, Lynx Africa is long discontinued in this utopian world we live in. But that implies that it is possible, should we get an arbitrary substance, to spray it into the landing bay while they're still there. So if we can somehow acquire as much coolant as possible, presumably we can spray that into the landing bay and hopefully attract the really vicious shit to go beat them up.
I was going to suggest that Salvador says, "You can use my suit. Use my suit's coolant."
That's at least some coolant. That would be very helpful.
I mean, searching the station for extra coolant is certainly an option. I'm not going to say that there is going to be any left there at this point.
There isn't very many places in the station we haven't been, so you'd hope we'd have noticed.
Would you like to look back on the map screen for a comprehensive overview?
Yep. Take us to Coolantipedia.
Okay. The parts of the station that you haven't looked into, or haven't kind of explored fully, include the comms post, the 2 storage rooms, And I think that's about it. Salvador's inspection of the gen food processing plant, the area that's marked as produce vats on the map, that was a very cursory kind of poke your nose in, quickly eyeball it, poke your nose out and close the door kind of affair.
Well, should we do a quick split up then? And one person goes to the storage room, and one person goes to the produce vats, one person goes to the common room and sees what we can see.
Makes sense. Storage seems like a good place for Colin.
Okay, alright. So who's going to go where?
I'm as near as anyone to storage, so I shall head there.
Right, storage. So you're going to go to the upper or lower one on the map?
I'm standing at that side of the corridor, so let's say lower. He's not an imaginative man.
And McGregor walks into the storage room. Salvador, where are you going to go?
I will go to the produce vats. No, I'll go to the upper storage.
Upper storage, okay. And there he goes into the upper storage. This leaves Ted Branson to check out. Well, you can look in the produce vats room, the comms post, or anywhere else that you like.
Which was which was room? The other room we hadn't seen or looked
Comms
at?
post.
I'll do comms post then.
Comms post, okay. But
It's where they keep all the fertilizer.
I am going to ask you to make an agility roll here, because, as you may remember from the last session, Ted Branson's hands are caked in medical gel. We had some discussion in a previous session as to how that was going to mechanically affect you. I was saying that it would reduce your agility by 1. You said that you couldn't do that because it would take you to 0.
Yeah.
Just to kind of explain what we're going to do here, I'm going to say that your stats are unaffected because agility can affect a number of different physical actions. But you're going to have great difficulty. In fact, it's going to be nearly impossible for you to manipulate anything with your hands.
I rolled a 1.
You roll a 1. And your agility is 1.
Yes. I got 2.
Okay.
My hands are very slippery.
You're going to go for the doorknob and punch yourself in the face.
That means that, Ted, as you try to close these knobby gelatinous lumps that are your hands around the access panel of the comms post, you just cannot make it work. So I don't know how Ted is going to react to that.
The one singular old man tear in his eye.
What we can say that you can do is you can choose at this point to either follow.
Pathetically follow, just looking really sad and dejected.
Yeah, and maybe just explain, like, sorry guys, I couldn't do this. Or you can go to any other area of this. Well, I say any other area, you're not going to be able to open any doors, but you could check out the common room because that's open plan. It is up to you.
I'm gonna walk up behind Salvador and say, "My hands are goo."
Oh, Jesus.
Oh dear.
My hands are goo.
Oh dear. The guilt that I was feeling earlier has returned redoubled. If we make it out of this, I will make it worth your while.
I think you've made a good choice in that you've gone to inspect the 2 storage rooms. I don't believe you've actually looked in these before already, but you can both search these rooms. I'm just trying to think. I'm going to say that this calls for a roll, but because of the way the stats work in those dark places, I'm not entirely sure which stat to use. I'm going to say education roll. But where Salvador and Ted are together, we'll say that the difficulty for that, because there's 2, that comes down to 6. So either one of you can make the roll there, and we'll have a separate roll for Guns McGregor.
That would be Guns McGregor Education 1 to you.
Education 1. You can still do it.
Is it a 7?
Is it a 7?
I don't know. It's a 4, is what
4.
it is.
Okay. Let's take the roll from either Adam or Andy.
I did 6.
And my education is... I got an 8.
You got an 8, okay. The way that works out then, Guns McGregor, you look in the storage room. The storage room is in darkness, as most of the rooms in the facility have been before you've gone in and activated them. As you shine the built-in lamp in your suit around the room, you see that there are indeed stacked canisters of coolant, and their fluorescent glow, that weak pale blue light that they give off, does spill into the room a little, but you can see that these tanks have been drained. They're ruptured. They look kind of almost melted in places. So it seems clear that the blob monster has got to them before you did. Now, you can search around in that room to look for anything else if you so wish.
Do I have to specify the anything else, or can I just open some containers and see if I get lucky?
Oh, gotcha.
Here's how we'll do this. You can look for anything you want. I'm going to... This is not in the rules. I'm going to call this a D6 roll.
Are you making a list of 6 things I might find?
I am. Or 6 degrees of success.
Okay.
What is it that you're looking for?
Just give me a second to get the phrase instructions on how to make coolant out of my head.
Instructions on how to make Lynx Africa.
It would also work. Or indeed, a nice pattern for some decent crochet gloves for our friend Ted. What might be useful at this point? Let's say any kind of additional weaponry.
Additional weaponry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What did you get?
4.
4. The arbitrary result I decided on there for this D6 roll is that you don't find additional weaponry. You do, however, find a med pack.
I'll take it.
Salvador and Ted, your search of the room has been successful. That means that as you're looking through what is basically an identically laid out storage room to the one that Guns McGregor has just inspected, again, the room is in darkness. You're able to, because both of you have got these built-in lamps in your environment suits, we're going to say that Ted is able to manipulate his just enough to get it to come on. He's able to sort of thump the control with his gelatinous mittens, shine that around the room, and you see much the same as Guns McGregor did, where there are tanks of coolant. Again, their light dimly contributes to the overall light within the storeroom, and you can see that most of those have also been ruptured and emptied. So the blob monster has obviously got in here as well. But there are 2 tanks of coolant that remain untouched as far as you can see. Woo. So there is usable coolant in that storeroom.
Right. We've got 2 tanks. Now we just need to work out how to spray it all over the walls in the corridor.
Are you going to go for the corridor, not trying to inject it into the vent system into the bay itself?
I was thinking the corridor because that would give us time, but that's actually a really good point.
The thing is, the corridor has access to us, and the bay currently very doesn't. And I quite like the idea of the goo monster, other than Ted, the goo monster not having access to us.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so the question is then, how do we spray the room with this coolant? Ted, you'll need to ask Gerald.
Remember that when you observed this gelatinous blob creature feeding on the coolant that spilled from Guns McGregor's damaged suit, it was quite happy to just sit there and soak it up from the puddles that it had formed on the tread plate of the main concourse. So you don't necessarily need to spray it around. You could just
drop it in.
Yeah. Do as you will.
Ted, Could you ask Gerald if it is possible, if there is any mechanism in which this can be delivered into the hangar bay without us having to go into it?
Gerald, can we spray this coolant material using the ventilation system over the gangsters in some form or another?
Onto the gangsters.
Onto them. Hock tour on them.
That is an interesting proposition. However, I do not believe that the brand of coolant used upon this station is suitable for aerosol delivery.
Is there a fire system that we could pump it through?
There is indeed. However, access to the on-site fire retardant is prohibitively difficult within the time frame you likely have to work in.
Bollocks.
Is there a bucket we could balance above a door frame and it accidentally fall on top of them?
It's science fiction doors, so they go like that, not like that.
That was the perfect plan ruined.
I know.
It's like they didn't build this station for comedy.
No.
So the only other idea I've got then is if we open up the door into the corridor, roll these down, or throw them so they break.
Mm-hmm.
Because anything else that we do is going to involve having to open up the hangar bay. And I don't want to do that. I want to keep that shut until we're ready.
You're thinking, like, because that corridor has got a door at either end.
Yes.
And remember that the door at the far end of that corridor kind of functions as the second door of what's basically a huge airlock.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying just roll it into the hallway.
Yeah, open the first door, wang it in, close the first door, open their door.
You can do that?
There's nothing that we could use to spray. There's no, like, backpack and spray we could put on.
Like a fertilizer.
That's the only thing I can think of doing, yeah.
No, in that case, my best plan was discontinued in 2036, so wang it into the corridor it is.
Oh, what about in the plant vat place? Would they have a hose? Could we wheel out a big hose and squirt them?
There are no kind of pressure hoses in the Gen Food produce.
What about a Super Soaker 500 from the 90s, the green one?
That is a reach that is so impressive. I'm amazed that you haven't come out the other end into the kingdom of Narnia.
Are there any hoses in Narnia?
Ooh.
Probably, but,
Yeah, well.
but we ain't going there.
Are there any wardrobes on the station? Can we escape through a wardrobe?
I would say that
Jesus.
your best bet is probably going with the plan that you've already outlined, which is to roll it into the...
Chuck and slam.
Okay, so which one of you is going to do the deed?
Who's got the most strength?
I would say not the one with the goo.
Yeah, I
hands.
don't think it's Ted. No, you want
No.
me. You want me for the chucking things.
Yeah, I think Guns is lobbing. Ted is talking to Jerry to get the door open and shut.
Yeah. So I need someone on the controls of both doors. Probably Ted yelling at Jerry because it's not going to have a button. Or does my door have a button?
The door leading into the hallway will absolutely have a push-button control.
In that case, it doesn't actually matter if Ted opens the door immediately. So I will. My door is already open, right? And if not, I'll open it. I take this and I give it the biggest chuck I possibly can using all of my 4 strength. I can roll for additional strength if you want to see how well it goes.
It's fine. We'll say that that's however you choose to do it.
As
It's gonna
far
be
down the
successful.
corridor as I can possibly get it. Overarm, proper guns chuck.
Okay.
I'll give you the second one to do as well. So let's get both of them in there.
Yep. Do you want me to
Okay.
chuck both?
Chuck both.
Yep. All right. I wang both of them out there. I'm hoping they break, and then I whack the door.
Okay.
Probably too hard, but hopefully safely.
All right. But a slight twist that I'm going to introduce here is that as you open that door and throw those canisters of coolant down into the connecting hallway, you can see at the far end where that larger double door is, the spitting, arcing sparks of what looks to be some kind of cutting device, as these mobsters are clearly in the process of gaining entry into that corridor. So you're going to see that, you're going to do what you went there to do, and then I assume,
with conviction, press the close the fucking door now button.
yep, and get out of there. All right. That's gone off without a hitch.
Ooh.
But now that you're back inside the main complex, of the facility and you've executed your plan. What do you do now? You know that those mobsters, it's a matter of moments before they gain entry into the hallway. Is your plan to stand and fight if they make it through there? Are you going to hide?
I'm voting for we hide in the produce room.
Just because it's the furthest away?
Yeah.
It's covered by cameras. So on the way, I yelled, Gerald, don't let them use the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Don't wait for an acknowledgement. We're running here. But
Okay.
I will have yelled that on the way to the produce vats, directly behind Salvador. Ted presumably is behind me, because he's having a day.
How many shots do you have on your gun right now?
8.
You've got 8, okay. How would you feel if Ted gets behind me and you stand on either side of the door, and if that door opens, we shoot whoever walks through it?
In the produce vats room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Element of surprise in the vain hope that we can just shoot somebody in the head if they survive.
Yep. I'm working on the reassurance you gave me in recent history that only one gun is involved and thus I am safe. So, yeah, absolutely.
You will find your neighbour's guns. You will not be killed by a gun or a McGregor.
Exactly.
Alright, so the three of you dash into the gen food production chamber where the produce vats are, and I'm assuming that you stay in this formation that you've outlined and maybe take up positions within the room.
Yep.
Something that I will reveal to you here, although I assume it should be fairly obvious, is that the gen food processing chamber, filled as it is with the produce vats and a few kind of work trolleys and boxes of bits and pieces that have been brought in and left unattended, that is going to represent an excellent place for a last stand. There's lots of cover.
Mm-hmm.
So if it comes down to it, you're going to be in possibly the best position you could be.
Which then is probably a better idea to get behind something rather than standing behind the door.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm assuming that you're going to do that anyway.
Behind the nearest thing to the door, essentially, I guess.
Yeah.
You've certainly got a favourable environment to do that, because the walls of this room are lined with these huge algae processing vats, and you've got stand-up terminals and things. There's a lot of stuff that you can use as cover here. As you're taking up position, however, Jerry 9000's voice comes to you from a terminal and says,
"Excuse me, sirs. I believe I have found something that may be of interest in the station's surveillance logs.
Please continue."
It is with regard to the unusual life form that you stated was loose within the facility. It would seem that I have uncovered something anomalous in the gen food processing records. Would you like me to relay it to a nearby video terminal?"
Yes, please. Ted, could you please look at video and tell us what it tells you?
What? Can't we all just look at the video?
I'm looking at the door with a gun.
Oh. Okay.
I'm scared the mobsters getting in.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Ted, as you trot over to a nearby video terminal, there's a series of displays which monitor the internal processes of the various different processing vats, but one is a more general video feed, and you're able to use that to keep an eye on what's going on within the station. Jerry 9000's spinning face logo appears on that terminal and cycles a few times before displaying the video log that it mentioned that it had found. And what you see is camera footage that appears to have been recorded within the processing chamber. It plays out for a few seconds and nothing appears to be happening. It's just like a day in the life of a gen food processing vat. But after a few moments, you notice that one of the status lights on one of the processing vats changes from blue to red, and it starts to shake and shudder. Then a valve on the side of the processing vat starts to bulge and vent, and it's almost as if something is punching its way out of the tank through that vent. Eventually, that valve seems to kind of jerk upward at an unusual angle and then bulge, and you see a viscous looking substance starts to blossom from the tip of this valve and then drip towards the floor. But rather than a liquid, which you would assume would just drip and fall, this doesn't so much fall as it stretches to the ground, and it immediately puts you in mind of your first encounter with the blob creature in the admin block. Just as you saw it there, it does the same thing on this video feed, where it reaches the ground, pulls, slowly drags the remainder of itself out of that valve, and it kind of wobbles, undulates a little, and then takes on the shape that you know to be that blob creature. And before your eyes on the video feed, it appears to suddenly expand in size and then shuffle away over the floor, out of sight on the video feed.
Well, it seems, guys, that the goo monster came from the vat.
Oh, shit.
That is interesting information, because you have no reason to believe that the creature is going to be hanging around in the produce vats right now, based on your limited knowledge of it. You feel as confident of that as you reasonably can right now. But this is interesting information because it gives you an insight into the origins of this creature, perhaps. This is something that can go in that all-important report that you need for your company, 5BM, as I'm calling it. Because that's the whole point of your purpose here on this station. You're here to evaluate what's gone on and turn in a report. So, what do you do with this information, or in light of what you've seen on this video log now?
Jed, can you look at all the other vats, please, and tell me if they're all blue?
Okay.
Because if any have red, we may have a problem.
Do any of the vats have red lights, man who can tell me things? Man who is my eyes.
That's a fairly easy question to answer, because all of the vats are displaying red status lights. But what I'm going to say here is give me an education roll, and depending on this, I'm going to say if you fail this education roll, I want a pressure roll.
5 plus 2 is 7.
7, okay, that's fine. That is a success with a complication. So you are maybe a little unnerved by the fact that all of the lights on these tanks are red, but you also have the realization that all that really means is that the tanks have failed. You've got no reason to believe that anything has happened, say, along lines of all of these tanks spontaneously generating a weird goo monster. I am going to say as well that you do have the option to consult with Jerry 9000 and ask questions about this if you so wish.
Do we wish? I guess I could.
More information the better, and if you can stay in contact with Jerry just to let us know where people are as well, where the mobsters are.
Jerry, how are the mobsters doing? Are they through the door yet?
Rather than give you a verbal reply, Jerry 9000 routes the on-site surveillance feeds to that terminal where you've just seen this video clip, and it shows you footage of the access corridor that leads into the main station. And as it appears on the screen, you see that sparking arc of the cutting tool that the mobsters were using to get into the station, that's reached the bottom of that doorway. And you've seen this just in time to see those doors being prized apart by these two mobsters still in their full environment suits. And as they do that, the lighting within the access corridor switches to emergency red overhead lighting. That's to denote that the condition of the atmosphere in that part of the station has been compromised. So obviously there's no atmosphere in the landing bay, now there's no atmosphere within that corridor. So as the mobsters enter the corridor, they see this. You see that they're startled. They look around, and even though those canisters that Guns McGregor has thrown into the corridor are fairly close to them, so close to the mobsters that they must have noticed them, you see that they're suddenly more interested in the status of that door behind them, and they're quickly trying to get it closed. So they're preoccupied for the moment.
To be clear, during all of this, Guns is not so worried about the goo, because obviously the goo can't kill him. So he is very much still guns on the door, because that is where the actual threat in his mind may come, which means he has heard none of this. Not paying attention to the monitors at all.
Anything wrong with the other vats, Gerald? Are there any other creatures that you can detect inside the vats?
That is a very good question, Ted. Allow me one moment to consult my internal logs.
Jerry 9000 warbles, again in that telltale fashion, and then says,
After consulting the work logs from the processing vats, I feel fairly confident in saying that there are no additional creatures that may have gestated within these vats. If I may offer some speculation as to the origins of this creature, would it be useful in your present situation?
Yeah.
Very good. One might theorize as follows. The gen food processing vats contain a number of microbial elements to assist in processing algae into food product. Several of these are complex bioengineered products in their own right. I would theorize that the Gramtech employee who recorded their mishap in one of the previous surveillance logs may have had something to do with the genesis of this creature. I cannot confirm the purpose of their visit to the station, as my internal work logs appear to have been altered. But if they came here to reload the processing vats with microbial product, which is a common practice, it could be that they unwittingly introduced a contaminant into the tanks. The microbial product used in the processing vats is strictly regulated due to its controlled status. It could be that a contaminant in one of the vats contributed to the anomalous development of a rogue element. However, I hasten to add, this is all so much speculation on my part.
Okay, guys, so Jerry said basically aliens. With my goo hands, I do the aliens meme. Aliens.
Your goo hands, you describe the goo aliens. Yeah.
I'm suddenly very glad my great uncle isn't here.
they're not necessarily aliens though, because it sounds like if Jerry's theory could be taken at its word, it might be the case that this creature has been artificially created by accident.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. It sounds like it's a just a weird bioengineered problem that nobody saw coming. Did the 80s teach us nothing?
If nothing else, it sounds like you've got some concrete information for your report. So
Yeah.
if you can extricate yourselves from this mess in one piece, you might be sitting pretty.
Well, unless we have to rely on Guns to tell the story.
I heard aliens.
Okay, we're good. We're good. We got the important info.
At this point, after this stunning revelation, you can hear the very faint, muffled screams of the mobsters, as obviously something is going down wherever they are in the station right now.
Ted, what are you seeing? Tell me what you're seeing.
I will tell you what Ted sees on the video display. You are suddenly presented with a camera feed that looks down the main concourse of the facility. So this is in the part of the station outside the door to the room that you guys are presently camped in. That inner door suddenly opens. You don't know how the mobsters have managed to get it open. Somehow maybe they've defeated Jerry 9000's security interlock, but they've gained access into the station. That said, they're not having a great time. You see the two mobsters stumble backwards into the concourse, and they're firing their weapons blindly into the corridor.
And you'll mock me when I do that.
They pause for a moment, and then you suddenly see the larger of the two blob creatures loose on the station suddenly spills out of that hallway and smothers one of the mobsters. the other remaining mobster flings themselves at it, trying to pull it off of their companion. So outside in the concourse, there's this scene of absolute chaos. It's arms, legs, and gelatin everywhere.
I've had dreams like this.
What do you do?
Well, I ponder that that's probably why it was a former crash on the ship. At the moment, this is going very well for us. I mean, we keep the guns trained on the door, sure, but it appears that the blob is doing exactly what we want the blob to do.
Yeah.
It may be, but think back to your prior experience with this blob creature. You know that it packs a bit of a sting, but it's not necessarily lethal.
Yeah, but if it knocks them out, we can get past.
How do you feel if Guns, whilst they're busy, opens the door and takes a couple of crack shots and then shuts the door again?
At the mobsters, presumably.
Yes. No, not at me, no. At the mobsters.
That is certainly something that you can do. A little bit of information I can give you if we talk game mechanics for a moment here, is that if you do that, if you take a shot at one or either of the mobsters, that is going to count as a surprise attack. And the way surprise attacks work in those dark places is that they automatically, on a successful hit, do the maximum damage afforded by your weapon. Now, what is your weapon at the moment?
It's an antique pistol.
Antique pistol. So I think we said that was functionally identical to the security pistol as outlined within the game. I'm just going to look that up.
I like this, because a surprise attack is one that happens when you're not...
Okay, that's a maximum damage value of 3 with a successful hit. That means that you could conceivably kill one of the mobsters. I can tell you that now.
I'm up for this plan.
Okay. How about then if both of us take a shot, you take one, I take the other. I'm going to be next to McGregor, down on one knee, because then there's every chance that we at least will badly wound both of them.
Yep. I'll take the starboard one, you take the port one.
Let's take a look on the map screen. I'm going to rule that because you're going down to one knee, this is an aimed shot, so I'm going to lower the difficulty level of this shot. Just in your case.
Okay.
Salvador.
Okay.
As regards who's aiming for who, Splashraag is aiming for mobster number 1, did we say?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, and Guns is aiming for mobster number 2.
Starboard mobster, got it.
Excellent stuff. We're not going to roll initiative at this point because this is a surprise attack. What I'm going to ask for now is please give me an agility roll plus 1d6, and Salvador gets to make this against difficulty of 6. For Guns, it's difficulty 7.
Yep.
Okay. My agility is... It's a 6 with a 1 is a 7.
That's a successful shot against mobster number 1. Dudley, what did Guns McGregor roll?
So, agility of 3. A bonus of 2 because he is security officer, which means he only needs to roll a 2. That's a 1.
Unlucky. Salvador Splashraag's shot carves into mobster number 1 as he's bending over his companion, trying to prise this squirming creature off of them. You hear him groan painfully as the bullet from your gun slices through him. That's taken him down to 1 hit point.
Eat shit.
So he's still very much alive.
Bollocks.
Guns McGregor, your shot goes wide, goes over the head of the prone mobster, but does not appear to draw any ill effect. What we're going to do at this point is roll initiative and go into combat proper. Okay, we're now in our first round of combat proper. I've added the creatures tag to the map here so that we've got a clear overview of all the combatants. Now, you're already off to a fairly strong start here. Like I say, Salvador Splashraag's sneak attack on the first mobster has taken them to 1 point of health. So, you're in a good position here. Guns McGregor gets to go first. What would you like to do?
Right. So here's the overall plan. Kill Mobster 1, kill Mobster 2, take Salvador's suit coolant, throw it as far away as possible, and then book it the heck out of here while it's distracted. Step 1 in that, fire at Mobster 1.
Fire at Mobster 1. In that case, please give us a ranged attack. That is 1d6 plus agility, I believe.
Plus security officer.
Plus security officer, yeah.
Right, agility 3, security officer 2, so 5. So I need 2, I got 2. 7.
7. That is a success with a complication. Your attack lands. You need to now give me a d6 roll to determine how much damage you do.
Bear in mind the man has 1 hit point, that's why I've aimed at him.
Reduce him by 1 hit point, that will render him unconscious. Reduce him by 3 hit points, you will kill him.
6.
6, that means maximum damage on your weapon, which is, I believe, 3.
It is.
Mobster number 1 falls flat. Your bullet carves through his head.
In that case, I go for a pun, and all I can come up with is Goo To Meet You.
The complication, however, is that the creature sees you and pauses for a moment, obviously considering whether it wants to continue attacking its current target or whether it wants to come for you. So you have alerted the creature to your presence with that attack. The creature is going to stay where it is. I'm going to say that that creature's moment of indecision takes up its turn in this round of combat. Next up is the second mobster, who you see prizes themselves up off the floor, claws desperately at the creature, and these two are going to have an opposed combat roll. I'm quickly going to do that. That's going to be 1d6 plus strength for both combatants. And the upshot of that is that the second mobster is able to, with great difficulty, almost fling the creature off of themselves. And what that means in real terms is that the creature is going to be thrown a little way down the corridor toward you, so it is no longer engaged with that mobster. Salvador, you're up next. What do you do?
I haven't moved from my kneeling position. My gun is trained on Mobster 2. And I'm going to take another shot.
Go for it.
Hopefully. Shouldn't have these stupid bloody guys. Oh, yep, that's a 6. So that's with a 1 is a 7.
7. That is a successful hit, again with a complication. What I'm going to say that does is that it lands on the mobster, but it strikes them in the center of their chest, where they have quite a bit of apparatus in their suit. So that is going to halve the damage done by your shot. Please give us a d6 roll to determine what that is.
That is a 4.
That's a good result. Guns, Salvador, please remember to mark off a point of ammo on your ammo trackers.
I've done.
Ted, you're up next. What do you do?
I don't know. Do I do a dance and buff my party?
I appreciate that reference, Andy, even if no one
Ted,
else.
you are not a space bard. What you can do at this point is you can take any action that you deem necessary to assist your companions. Bear in mind that your hands are caked, so there's not much you're going to be able to do. You may be limited in terms of verbal instructions that you can give, perhaps to Jerry 9000, perhaps to one of your companions. It is up to you. Or alternatively, if you can think of something else that you could do.
I can't think of anything unless the team wants to suggest anything. I don't know. I got nothing.
Okay. we'll call that the end of that combat round. Before we go into the second combat round, I will remind Dudley that Guns McGregor has a med pack. I believe you are at 1 point of health at the moment.
I am.
You can use that med pack to restore 1 point of health at any point. It might be worth doing, because if this...
So it's not an action as such?
It will be an action. It will
Right.
It will take your action for that combat round. I will allow you to move as well. What I'm going to say as well about the fact that you're currently in the gen food processing chamber. Remember I said that you have a lot of cover there? You have a lot of kind of natural cover by virtue of the way all the apparatus there is arranged. Where you're currently standing in the doorway as you're firing into the main concourse means that you're not availed of that cover.
No.
So this remaining mobster still has a little fight left in them, and you've got the creature in the main concourse, which is an unknown quantity. You don't really know how that's going to act. It may be wise for you to use that med pack. You don't have to use it on yourself. You can use it on Salvador. I think you're all in pretty bad shape.
Yeah, but no.
Could you use it on Ted so he can get the gel off his hands?
That I will not allow, because the repair of Ted's hands is going to take a long while.
It's still fixing my hands. I need my goo.
How hard is the goo?
I'm sorry. Oh, I see.
It is solid. It's dried solid on Ted's hands. So
Probably got a right hook on you.
That's what I'm thinking. Is Ted like our brawler now? Could Ted use those to punch?
I'm like an old man, so I'm going to say probably not.
Well,
you can certainly try to do that, although I will say that it may incur some long-term penalty.
I also
on
have
Ted.
no agility. I imagine throwing a punch would require some sort of agility.
You have 1 point of agility, I think. I think that remained unchanged.
Yeah, it's crap.
All I'm going to say about that is, I mean, if Ted wants to use those gelatinous mittens as some sort of bludgeoning weapon, that's going to count as hand-to-hand combat, but I am going to say that it carries a long-term repercussion for Ted as regards the healing of his hands.
your hand's going to pop off.
Oh no.
Alright, so top of the order is me, and I think the smart plan is indeed to, because we're not under immediate threat in a melee sense.
No.
So I think my smart move now is to medkit and get back into cover, covering the door, because we're down to one guy, who I'm obviously not scared of, because guns, McGregor. But I'm going to med pack and get into cover.
Okay, I'll allow you to do that as one action. We can spin that you're backpedaling into the room and...
while necking pills.
Yeah,
Like
applying the
Thursday
med kit,
night.
however that works. I'm going to move you ever so slightly on the map. We'll say back here, so that you no longer have line of sight on anything that's going on in the main concourse. But
No,
you are...
I have line of sight on the door, right? If someone comes through.
Yeah, you can hide behind one of the processing vats.
I'll take it. Thank you, benevolent General Monitor.
The creature in the concourse has kind of detected that you've moved backwards, and it appears to hesitate just for the briefest of moments. You suddenly see that whatever instincts this thing has got, something primal overtakes it, and it completely ignores the mobster who's been knocked back onto the floor in the main concourse behind it, and moves down the main concourse toward the doorway.
I mean, I don't see this, but I take your point. Splashraag certainly does.
The mobster, laying prone on the ground, is kind of embroiled in the process of quickly righting themselves. You see that they claw at their chest and they sit up, and seeing what's happened, seeing that whoever has fired at them and wounded them has retreated, has just enough time to move to a position back here so that they have line of sight on the doorway, but they're standing just where the corner of the wall is that goes into the common room. Next up in the turn order is Salvador Splashraag. What do you do?
I'm backing into cover as close to Ted as I physically can because I'm worried that Ted's going to get into trouble. So I'm going to do a really dramatic run and throw myself to wherever Ted is. Ted, dude, are you okay?
Yes.
Good. Is there anything that...
My hands are still goo, though, from the explosion.
Oh, goo in your hands, goo over there. There's goo everywhere. It's not a good day.
Ha! Ha!
That exchange counts as your battlefield banter and takes up the remainder of your turn. We're now in the third turn of combat. Guns McGregor.
Well, Guns McGregor is pondering starting a podcast called Battlefield Banter. Other than that...
I would use that if I hadn't already settled on the term colony report. Look out for that after the final episode, folks.
Nice. I'm just going to stop my creature pushing a pencil off the desk. So, is there a mechanism in those dark places along the lines of reserving the action, kind of an Overwatch thing? I know D&D has something similar.
There is not.
Okay. You can see where I was about to go with that.
I can.
No, if it's the monster coming, a warning shot would make sense, but I think in this case I just feel invincible. What are there any other useful actions available to me here?
There are. I mean, I can think of one, but I'm not sure that I want to explicitly lay that out for you.
As someone who doesn't know the rules, is there anything you can tell me from the rules that I might know as my possible actions?
Well, you see the creature squirming down the main concourse
so
toward
I
the
can
doorway.
see the creature where he is.
Yeah, you can see it. It's by this point it is huge. It is almost the size of a person.
We've established bullets don't work.
It is indifferent to that kind of thing, but you have got an open doorway between you and the creature, which you could turn into a closed doorway. Just saying.
Yeah. In order to close it, would I have to go to the doorway, or can I get Gerald to do it? Do you think?
I'll say that's up to you.
I don't think I'm going to. I would be removing myself from cover. So let's just go with me yelling, "Jeremy, close the door."
Jerry 9000 responds and says,
Right you are, sir.
and the door hisses closed. The creature on the other side sees that door closing and rushes toward it, and just as the door closes, you hear it smack into the door heavily.
Satisfying thud.
I have horrible feeling that it's now worried that we are about to hurt its children, and there are more in here with us.
Next up in the turn order is mobster number 2. And I'm going to say here that you have no line of sight on mobster number 2, so you do not know what's going on out in that main concourse.
So, Ted's monitor, is it currently showing that general area? And thus we might be able to see what he does?
It is indeed still trained on the main concourse.
I mean, I invite Ted to tell us if anything exciting happens. In a non-hand way.
Is anything exciting happening, screen-wise?
We'll address that after Salvador decides what his action in this round of combat is going to be.
I'm going to do two things. One, I'm going to hide and make myself look as non-threatening as possible. Which, yeah. And the other is I'm going to just lightly and gently just pat Ted on the back. It's like, you're okay. It'll all be okay. We'll get out of here. Don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going to do a third thing. Very, very quickly. I'm going to take one of the little... there was 3... What the heck was the mineral called? The ore... the
Xenithite.
Xenithite. There was 3 of them, wasn't there?
You have 7 of those.
7. I'm going to take one of those and I'm going to put it into Ted's pocket, pat his pocket, and just say, you're going to be okay.
Alright. We'll count that as 2 actions. The economy in those dark places is supposed to be really that you get 1 action per turn.
Okay. Well, that's my action is I'm going to put that in his pocket, pat his pocket, and just, you're going to be okay.
Am I yours for the night?
Let's try to survive before we start thinking about what we're going to do overnight.
Good, because I mean, I appreciate it, but I'm much cheaper than this, you know?
If we're going to have a night together, then at least I'm hoping that one of us does the cooking, and now you're going to do the cooking.
I'm afraid my hands might not be able to accommodate your pleasure, sir.
You don't know what I want to eat?
Oh no!
And once again, we're in the territory of things I have to cut out of the edit.
I would like to have a Chinese takeaway.
Ted, what do you do in your combat round?
What's going on? Well, I'll ask the same question I did before. Anything interesting on the computer screen?
Yes, you can consult the computer screen. That will show you a view of what's going on in the main concourse. You can see the second mobster poking their head around the corner. They're just barely visible. And the creature has thrown itself at the door a couple of times and then reared up and quickly lost interest. You see that it pauses where it is for a moment. It does that strange undulating thing that you've seen it do a few times, and then appears to make its way very, very slowly, almost uncertainly, back up the main concourse, and you see that second mobster disappear from view.
Alright, the mobsters seems to have gone, and the creature's going up the corridor thingy.
So you're sealed in the processing chamber again. What do you want to do at this point?
Is anything in here edible?
You're stuck in a room with a baker's dozen's worth of inoperable algae processing vats. Safe to say there's nothing in here you really want to put in your mouth.
Okay, no, I was just wondering because I was just thinking, we've been here a while. I think we're going to be in here a little while. So food and water may have been an idea, but I think those ideas are out of the window.
We might have
really.
water, because presume there's some sort of minor irrigation system for this stuff. I mean, this stuff's fucked, but is there still an irrigation system that works so we might be able to manage water?
There's no accessible water in the gen food processing chamber. Realistically, your options are going to be you've either got to make an escape, perhaps go into the main concourse again, or keep an eye on what's going on out there.
Alright. So here's the tactical plan. Creature going after mobster. Mobster looked injured. If creature finishes off mobster, happy days. What we do is we run out into the corridor with the coolant we've still got from your suit, throw it past it into the common area, and then absolutely book it down the corridor to the ship and get the hell out of here. If somehow the mobster is the one who survives, then we go out guns blazing, don't bother with throwing the coolant, same plan regarding the ship.
Shouldn't Jerry be able to sense where the man is, or at least be able to see him with the other cameras?
You've got access to those surveillance logs, so yeah, Jerry can absolutely show you where that second mobster is.
Two thoughts appear. First thought. There's no atmosphere at all, is there, once we get into the corridor leading to the hangar bay?
I can tell you that you've got reason to believe now that the mobsters have restored atmosphere to that corridor, but once you get into the landing bay, anyone's guess.
Okay. Second question is, you know that the creature was getting around above the roof?
In the space above the ceiling panels, yes.
Is there space for a person up there? Or more precisely, is there space for Dudley?
Which is quite a big person.
Yes.
Well, we'll make this the subject of an education roll, and the results of that will tell us what you can see in the room by way of alternative escape routes.
That's a 3, and my education is a 4, I think.
Would you get any bonuses for that?
I've got medical officer and navigation.
Navigation,
officer
so
as my
no, that's not going to help.
So 4. So that's an 8.
Well, in that case, an 8, did you say?
So 4 and 4, that's 8.
4 and 4 is 8, okay. In that case, yes. Looking around the gen food processing chamber, you can see that a little way up toward the ceiling, there are indeed air intake vents that look like they might be of a size that you can, maybe not comfortably, but you can get into them. Where they're actually going to lead you is maybe not so clear. You don't have enough knowledge of this facility that you can confidently say where they're going to go. Ted has the engineer position, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to rule that Ted would know that it's highly unlikely that those vents are going to take you directly into the landing bay. So if you enter those vents, they're not necessarily going to represent a clear path of escape directly to the landing bay and the shuttles that are stationed there. They might take you somewhere else. I mean, they're bound to exit somewhere else in the station, but you don't know where.
Tid,
Hmm.
could you ask Gerald if he could tell us where the nearest exit from the vents to the door that leads to the hangar bay would be?
Jerry, what's
Gerald, yes.
Gerald? Yeah. What's the
Jeremy.
closest vent to the docking bay? How close is it?
There are a number of air intake and output vents running throughout the station. However, not all of them are connected. Would I be correct in assuming that you want to know which of these vents connects to your present location?
Sure.
One moment, please.
Jerry 9000 warbles, obviously considering accessing the information at its disposal, and then says to you,
I can tell you that the vents in the gene food processing plant exit above the main concourse, specifically over the common room.
that's right where you saw that second mobster.
You
Yeah.
wouldn't know about that though.
Although, if I can get there, good news, surprise attack on the mobster. Bad news, face to face with the creature while I'm in a tube.
Yeah. Although the idea of you hanging outside, like hanging upside down, just taking a shot at the guy's head.
I am the Batman.
I am the gunman.
Is that your plan?
I don't know. Has anyone got a better plan?
Well, canonically, remember Guns really does not believe the creature can kill him. And actually, he does not believe the mobster can, because the mobster is currently in possession of one gun.
You don't all have to follow the same plan, remember? I mean,
No.
if this is a path of action that Guns McGregor likes the idea of, by all means, he can pursue that.
I wouldn't say he likes as such, but he's totally willing to do it.
Okay. What would the rest of you do in that eventuality? Would you attempt to follow Guns through the vents, or perhaps find another route? Maybe just go straight out the door and make a beeline for the landing bay?
It just occurs to me that Ted would struggle to get into the vents with his hands.
I wouldn't go in the vents.
No.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
Why? What's wrong with his hands?
So, one person in vent, one person with Ted. Ugh. None of these are good ideas. Ted, you are smart. Do you have any ideas?
And what, Jerry? What's in the corridor at the moment? Is there anything there? Where is the other man?
I would direct your attention to the surveillance feed.
And as Jerry tells you that, you look back at the video surveillance screen at that terminal nearby, and you can see that the main concourse now seems empty. The only place that this second mobster could have gone, based on your knowledge of their previous whereabouts, is into the common room, unless they've somehow managed to sneak into one of the other rooms at that end of the station.
Do we just book it?
You've got no visual on either the creature or the mobster, so you can do...
There's no cameras in the common room area?
There is no video feed in the common room area.
I mean, we could book it to the exit, and we've both got the ammo to fire blindly into the common room area as best we can in the hope of hitting the already injured.
If he went up into the vents, he's screwed because he can't really get out of the vents very easily, especially while bleeding.
I'm thinking we run.
Team book it.
Yeah. Ted, what do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, right, we're gonna run for the hangar then. Oh my god.
And I don't know if we're still in turn order at that point. I'm guessing not.
No.
I am going to try and loose off a shot towards the mobster, because I believe I could see probably a line of sight from the door. If I can, I will just fire off at the mobster.
You could call that a warning shot, sure.
Well, I mean, it's the kind of warning shot I'm hoping goes for his sternum, but I see your point.
Okay, we'll do that then. Tell me how this plays out.
I'm thinking Guns leads this one. Because you're back keeping, and you and Ted are going to make a straight turn right into that door and keep going. Guns will pause just long enough to try and loose off a shot towards the mobster, and then will either still be ahead of you, or will be behind you, but is then going to dash through the door. But initially, Guns is leading as far as that door.
Yep, okay. I think Ted in the middle, me at the back. That way, if somebody does turn up, Ted is protected on both ends.
All right.
Ted's too nice to die. Ted cannot be allowed to die. He's too nice.
So one of you is going to have to operate the control to release the door, and then you can...
I would say that is Ted or Salvador, because I'll be...
Okay, I'll get the door.
You press the control panel. That door rumbles apart, and you see that the concourse is empty, save for the prone body of the mobster that you killed.
As they're opening the door, I'm going to try... Do I have line of sight to try and fire at the mobster?
You cannot see the second mobster or the creature anywhere.
In that case, I won't take a shot.
You're just going to dash for that hallway.
Fucking run.
Yeah.
The three of you dash like your lives depend on it.
It does.
Because they do.
For the access corridor. Salvador Splashraag, as you dash down that corridor, for whatever reason, you don't know, but something pulls your eye to the body on the floor on the main concourse. That mobster that was killed during your combat lays there in a pool of spreading blood, and you see that the faceplate of their environment suit has come off, and you stop in your tracks for a moment as you recognise the face of that mobster. It's Vito Briscoli, the son of the mob Don you got on the wrong side of, and he stares toward the wall with dead, glassy eyes.
Well, you don't have a problem with them anymore.
Do I have time to put his own gun in his own hand to make it look like a suicide?
I don't think anyone's going to buy that.
I want to be clear this way. Guns doesn't know this, hasn't stopped, is however far away he has got during the time Salvador is having this revelation.
Guns McGregor and Ted Branson are completely oblivious to this. You do not care. He's just a dead
Not
body
even a
on the
little bit.
ground.
Hurdled the body and kept going.
He just came aboard a station and killed himself.
Salvador, how do you react in this moment of realization?
I want to throw up, is what he wants to do. He wants to be sick. Can I? No. I'm good. Right. In a moment of just not really thinking about what he's doing, I'm going to shoot the corpse.
Fine.
There's a logic train there I can just about follow.
To be fair, it's better than I thought he was going to teabag the corpse. So this is better than I assumed.
He just stands there for a second. You two carry on, and without really thinking about it, I just raise the gun, shoot it, then go, "What the hell am I doing?" And I just stare at the corpse for just a few more seconds, spit at it, and then run.
So you follow your companions.
Yep.
I'm already fiddling for the spaceship keys and pressing the unlock.
Spaceship keys.
Yes, it beeps twice.
Okay, all right. Obviously, this is going to have repercussions for Salvador Splashraag's already dire relationship with the new Wolverhampton mob.
I'm going to go live in the sun.
By this point, that's something to worry about at a later date. As you dash down, the three of you, into that access corridor, you hear a panicked shout of, "Wait!" And
No.
Salvador, you're the last one through the corridor at this point. You look over your shoulder and you see that second mobster holding onto their gut, where you see that blood is pumping out of a wound. It looks very, very bad. They've removed their visor at this point, and you see that it is a middle-aged woman with dark jet black hair, ice blue eyes. She looks pale from blood loss. And as you look past her, you see that gelatinous creature has reared up behind her and is trying to wrap itself around her waist.
Yes. I'm going to raise my arm. I'm going to look her in the eye and say, "I'm sorry. There is nothing more I can do," and shoot her in the head.
Not even going to make you roll for that. Her head snaps back, and that gelatinous creature wraps itself around her body, pulling it down to the floor. The three of you disappear into that corridor, running for your lives, quickly fastening any loose visors or helmets to your environment suits, blasting out of the other end of that hallway into the landing bay, where the mobster ship and the rocket, or the racket, whatever you feel like calling it in this moment, are waiting. What do you do here? Explain to me how you make your escape.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Guns has been running since the start, and his aim will be to run into the ship, turn on the ship, turn on the heated seats, and hope the other two reach it before he has warmed up the engines.
Heated
Point
seats.
is, going, don't care, get fucked by.
I mean, the only one that stopped for a second was Salvador.
Mm-hmm.
Ted would have been behind your man.
So you
Guns.
just barrel into the ship after him.
Yeah, it's slower, you know, but they're still there.
You know the other ship?
Mm-hmm.
How many people do you need to fly it?
Conceivably, just one.
You two go.
I'm gone.
Salvador's getting into the other ship. He is worried now that two people will be put in harm's way going forward. He's going to get into the other ship. He's going to steal that. He's going to point in a compass heading, and he's going to go.
Whoa.
Nice.
I did not see that coming.
He does not want these two. As much as, yeah, when we arrived here, he was very much considering the idea of Guns may be some form of informant for the mob and may need to be shot.
Guns is barely an informant for himself.
He didn't believe it. No, nobody is that stupid. It's not possible. But at this point, he knows that he's in a world of hurt. He knows that Ted has some xenithite, which is going to go a long way in giving him a very comfortable life. And right now, He feels that there's going to be a very large target painted on him, and he does not want anybody else caught in the crossfire. Enough people have been caught in various crossfires that he's been in. He's going to take that other ship, and he is going to go in the opposite direction of wherever these two go.
Fair enough. In that case, Guns is going to set engines to stun because he hasn't read the manual quite as much as you'd think he should have, and is going to point it just back to HQ, basically. So I guess you're going to QH.
And your two vessels rise up from the deck of the landing bay and blast out from the facility. Job done.
Bloody hell, we survived.
Yay!
How, I will not know.
High five.
Go team, book it.
Salvador Splashraag, you sit in the seat of the Wolverhampton mob shuttle.
It's now called the Brandy Parrot.
Brilliant.
Thinking over all the implications of everything that's gone down on this Gen Food processing facility. You look down at the box of xenithite that you brought with you. You'd grabbed hold of that, never lost your grip on it throughout the entire ordeal. You now have 6 ingots of xenithite, the most precious material in explored space. What you're going to do with this, where you're going to go, you do not know. But you have already decided that your path leads in a different direction to that of Ted Branson and Guns McGregor.
Canon question. Presumably Guns does have a bank account or local equivalent for Salvador because he is still an honest businessman. With the various modifiers we've discovered over the last 4 episodes, Salvador will receive his pay for this.
He will.
If I am able to do so.
How much contact the two of you are going to have after this affair is anyone's guess. Maybe we'll find that out in a future adventure, who knows? But for the time being, Guns McGregor and Ted Branson, you sink into the seats of the rocket, absolutely exhausted. You're battered, you ache, you're covered in bruises, and you can't believe that you made it out of there alive. You're not sure that you can explain everything that you've seen on that facility, and you don't even want to think about the report that you're going to have to turn in. Neither of you are ready to consider the questions that you're going to have to find answers to, or the details that you're going to have to leave out. It is just too much for you to think about right now. Eventually, fatigue overtakes the pair of you, and all such thoughts dissolve as you find yourselves descending into deep, healing sleep. A sleep so deep, in fact, that neither of you notice when the ship's engines cut out, or see the status light that indicates a problem with the vessel's coolant system, and neither of you hear the sound of something moving in the space behind the bulkheads. Something small, gelatinous, and hungry. And we fade to black. That is the end of the Gramtech Incident. Thank you so much, guys, for taking part in this. It has been a blast. I've certainly had a lot of fun. Will we return to this universe sometime in the future? Who knows? I wouldn't mind doing it.
So stressed.
But that's the end of the campaign. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one. I've just realised that ED actually stands for something even worse.
Damn it, I was hoping he hadn't. Although I can't see how that would be fatal.
I feel sorry for his brother, CBT. I have a question.
Holy fuck!
Which makes you the man with the lowest number of questions currently on this video call.
The worst part of this is, because I can't see Andy, I don't know that he's not on the other end of his camera going, Jesus Christ, guys, just get on with it, for fuck's sake.
Just sharpening a knife.
I mean, he's obviously corpsed. Look at him.
Hey, that's a Dudley Zinger.
I'm assuming Axe body spray is like Lynx, but with added corn syrup.
With sharper.
It's the B&M own brand version.
It actually is what they call Lynx in the States, by the way, just if you didn't know.
I did not know that, no.
B&M's has got sword and puma.
Why are men's sprays always called things like assault or fuck you, and the women's ones are like lovely flower and pretty day?
Today we're releasing 2 new fragrances. One is happiness and joy, and for men we've got fist your fucking face, you bastard.
Exactly. Yeah. What I'm saying is, maybe I want to smell like happy joy.
I don't know what you guys are talking about, because I wake up every morning smelling like a fresh summer meadow.
I wake up every morning smelling like Bigfoot's dick.
The director's cut of this is going to be a thing.
There's going to be streamlining, I can tell you that.